I think it's safe to say Monster Hunter is more popular now than ever before, particularly in the West, as it's always been popular in Japan. And so, with a likely influx of very new players to the series, I've noticed a few things from the player base that have typically been considered Monster Hunter faux pas when I've been playing online doing SOS hunts. So I thought I'd put out a little video just going over Monster Hunter Etiquette 101. Now before I dive into any of these, I just want to give the disclaimer that most of these are not hard rules you need to absolutely follow, but with veteran hunters, they are typically considered just a nice courtesy to have when you're playing online, especially with randoms using the SOS system. There is one that I actually considered to be a hard rule, but I'll talk about that as I get to that part of the video. First up is communication. Now, not an end-all be-all, but it's always nice to have players that use a comm wheel either during a hunt or, in my opinion, more so at the end of a hunt. The game gives you a slew of universal comms and pings that you can bind to a radio wheel and use, which are great because no matter what language your fellow hunters are playing in, if you use the universal pings or comm messages, then the players on your SOS will get the message in whatever language their game has been set to. These are great if you want to indicate to your fellow hunters that you want to capture a monster, or if you're going to go back to base camp for whatever reason. You can also set up some of these to happen automatically during specific scenarios. For example, you can have an auto ping set up for when you cart that says sorry, or you can have one that pings whenever someone else carts that says don't worry about it. Now I believe in Wilds auto pings are on by default, so you may not even have to set these up, but I think it's worth it to hop into your settings to take a look at what some of them actually are. Where I really think comms and pings stand out the best is at the end of a hunt. I personally always almost try to drop a thanks for the hunt pin at the end of a hunt, especially if it was a really challenging monster or if my fellow SOS hunters just did an exceptional job of dispatching the monster within a couple of minutes. Alternatively, you can also use the good work sticker. I really do like the stickers in Monster Hunter, so I use these a lot, especially when they come out with like sticker packs that have different art styles and stuff. I really like the stickers, so yeah, I'm a big fan of the stickers. I highly recommend using either the sticker or just the thanks for the hunt. It's not the end of the world if you don't use these, but saying thanks and good work at the end of a hunt is just a nice little gesture that has become proper etiquette over the years for veteran hunters that have been playing the game. But again, that's not a hard rule, so you don't have to follow this if you don't want to, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Second up is flash podding a monster while your teammate has it mounted. This one is a little bit more of a hard rule and something I've actually encountered a few times now while doing SOS hunts. So I'm just gonna say this plain as day. If a fellow hunter has a monster mounted, do not, what the hell am I hungry? Do not flash pod it. While mounted, the monster is effectively incapacitated and is actively taking damage from the player that has it mounted. So by flash podding it, you cause the player to dismount, losing out on the free damage. Mounted monsters can also be forced to run into walls or other environmental hazards by the mounted hunter if they hit it on the head with the R1 button. And you, as an unmounted player, can also get free hits on the monster during this time, as it usually doesn't or isn't able to even attack you, or you can, I don't know, sharpen your weapon, because, you know, we can always sharpen our weapons, there's always more sharpening to be done, or you can heal up if you have any healing, or use any buffing items that you could, you know, may need, because at the end of the day, the mounted monster is going to fall down exactly as it would if you flash podded it. So essentially, you're getting the same benefit of a flash pod by letting the mount finish, but instead you get more damage out of the whole scenario, because a full mount does additional damage from the mounted player, you know, hitting it on the head with whatever giant weapon they have. So again, don't flash pod mounted monsters. I had this happen to me, I think, at least 2 times before writing the script. After writing the script, I think it's happened another 2 times, and I have been just flabbergasted every single time. Alright, third etiquette tip. This one is super minor, but use spread items in multiplayer. I don't think I've seen anyone using spread items when I do SOSs. There are about, I think, 5 spread items. There's 2 life powders, one that functions as a potion, one that functions as a mega potion. There is an antidote powder, an armor, and a demon powder for defense and attack boosts. These items affect yourself as well as nearby hunters, and since we all share the same 3 lives per hunt, it's usually a good idea to help out your fellow hunters in a pinch if their health drops a little low or they get hit with a poison. The armor and demon powders also stack with armor and demon drugs, as well as other defense and attack boosting buffs, so they can be pretty useful as well. Using spread items, or even the wide range skill, which turns your single target items like potions into spread items, can really save your squad during intense hunts. In Monster Hunter World, I had a specific loadout for really hard boss monsters like Arc Tempered Xeno'jiiva with spread items and the match to create more because of how tough that fight was. Now, I don't know if we're gonna get hunts that are that hard in Wild, but I assume it's Monster Hunter. They're gonna keep upping the ante as they do more title updates. So it's probably a pretty good idea to get into the habit of using spread items for particularly hard monsters. And now my final tip, and what I consider to actually be a hard rule that everybody should follow, is whether to capture or slay a monster when you join someone else's SOS. Now, if you're joining someone else's SOS or their hunt, the typical etiquette is usually that the decision to capture or slay the monster belongs to the person that posted the hunt. I cannot stress this one enough. Out of every tip I've given, I'd say this one you should follow all the time. Reward drops can be significantly different depending on whether a monster is slain or captured. For example, the other week I was hunting Odogaron for a plate. The plate has a 3% drop rate as a reward if captured, a 5% if slain, and a 7% if the tail is cut. I did a total of about 8 or 9 hunts trying to get this plate, and tell me how on one of my SOS runs, a hunter who joined me decided to capture the Odogaron at the end of the hunt without dropping a comm to let me know, meaning I lost out on the 5% chance of getting the plate from that hunt. Now I get it, okay? Capturing a monster does save you some time, but for me, the person who has been grinding out to get this plate, I could have gotten that plate on that hunt where that person, that dodo-brained individual, captured the Odogaron, which would have saved me from having to do a 6th or 7th hunt. I've also seen a small population of people, a very small fraction of people online who capture monsters because they feel bad about slaying monsters. Yeah, if that's you, I'ma just need you to realize you bought a game called Monster Hunter. We hunters, that's the job, bruh. Maybe you should stay out of the kitchen. You know, if you can't cook, don't pick up the chef aprons. You know what I'm saying? Now, jokes aside, at the end of the day, the rule on capture versus slay is that the decision always falls to the owner of the quest. Alright, Editor Jamal here. I wanted to add a little bit of an addendum to this tip because my friend has recently gotten Monster Hunter Wilds and we obviously have been playing together, and the other day we were doing tempered hunts with SOS on, and he captured 2 of my monsters without us communicating beforehand, but that was okay in the moment because we only had 1 cart left and there were 2 other hunters on the mission, on the hunt, that we obviously have never played with because they were randoms who joined our SOS. So his logic was, let's finish the tempered hunt and not fail it, which is reasonable. So in that one circumstance, if you are down to 1 cart and the monster's on a skull, capture it. Just do it because it's better to finish the hunt than to fail the hunt that you just spent however many minutes struggling to fight, especially if it's something hard like a tempered Arkveld or a tempered Raidao, anything like that. Go ahead, throw down the trap. That's the one exception to this rule. If you have 1 cart left and the monster is close to death, don't risk it for the biscuit. Just capture it. All right? Back to past Jamal. If you do want to capture someone else's hunt, then take my first tip.
Pause. Hey, yo.
And just use the comm wheel to ping a let's capture this thing and hope that the person replies with an okay or understood. It's that simple, folks. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. Just a short little vid for y'all today. Let me know what you think, and if you have any of your own personal Monster Hunter etiquette tips or hunting faux pas you've noticed while playing Wilds. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, drop a dislike if you didn't, but you got a comment down below letting me know why you hate me, and if you really enjoyed the video, go ahead and click that subscribe button for more. And until next time, I will catch you later.